Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm here to talk about your top reasons why your sales are stuck or plummeting. If you are new to this channel, just go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening. Subscribe if you would, to take advantage of that. If you're enjoying the energy here, make sure you subscribe. And we always love for you to rate and also review. Okay, so this show is particularly, what could be for any business. Of course, I serve people who are light leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs that are wanting to make that bigger difference, usually coaches, healers, trainers, experts, change makers in the world, but they're usually doing it through one of those things, teachers, etc. So why is it that wherever you are, like, okay, there could be a number of factors, right? We're going to talk about some of the top reasons. Everyone is unique, and everyone has their own reasons why their sales may be stuck or plummeting right now. So we're going to get into a number of them, and I'll talk about the problem and also talk about what some of the solutions can be. What can you do to start dialing those sales in, or what do you do, period. So, okay, so just give some context to this whole conversation. I've been in sales, well, I actually got into sales back in the early 90s, and I sold copiers. I sold copiers of all things. So I do hundreds of cold calls per week, and I was no great success in selling copiers, but I outlasted my other salespeople because I was so committed to just really being in the sales energy, I want to call it. So that's we'll talk more about that later. I wanted to cultivate the sales energy. I was shy as a kid. I often would hold back my persuasive energy most of the time, but I can remember wanting to be very persuasive in some cases with certain friends, certain things, and wanting to encourage. I actually remember in high school wanting to encourage things that may not be so positive, to encourage people to do things. And so I was really trying to find my power and my mojo in a way that felt right. And when it would come out, I would suppress it so much, then it would come out, and then I would utilize it in ways that, although it was fun, it created fun opportunities to get into mischief with me and my friends. And maybe it didn't always turn out well. It turned into, as a teenager, it turned into some minor vandalism stuff, among other things. As a college student, it was me packing myself into a car with many other people. I talked everybody, me and my friend anyway, into a car where there's already a lot of people, and we packed into a small car. And that the driver, I think, had been drinking a little bit. It was coming home from a party, and that car got into ended up being blown off the road from a semi going on to a freeway, and people got hurt. And did I totally create that? Did I make that happen? I guess we could debate that, but it definitely showed me, like, well, the car wasn't so overloaded, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Quite possibly there's two of us, like in like a trunk area, like we were literally like sardines in the back of that car. So there's so many stories I could get into where I went to use my power of persuasion where I ran into problems. I can remember in college, later on, when I went back to college after I did sales, I went and got a master's in clinical psychology. I remember it was so bizarre. I don't know why I would think to do something other. It was just fun. I didn't know what to do with this sense of persuasiveness or power that I had to influence people. So I remember one of my own college professors, I tried to talk him into, we were out socializing. I went to a school down south somewhere. It doesn't matter, where necessarily, but maybe some other time we get in that. And we're all out and about in town. And talking to my professors, trying to talk them into, buying things at the venue we were at, like, hey, you should buy one of those for yourself or whatever. Like, and there's literally no desire for me to actually like any benefit to me for him doing that, other than it just felt fun to persuade. And there's more stories. These are just a few. So for me, I mean, um, I've seen these things around sales, right? There's a lot of ideas around sales. All this is going to get into why your sales are stuck or plummeting. The other thing is I also saw where persuasion, may create things that are maybe not optimal or not so great. So we see very persuasive salespeople talking people into things they don't need, right? So we see things like that, and um, so there's a number of things. Just seeing where this this energy was not always so great. So much so I would suppress it. That I wasn't dating as a growing up and whatnot, and I just no. My sister got pregnant when she was younger, and I just like, okay, I don't want that to happen. So many ways of dialing it back, and then I had gifts. I had intuitive gifts, and I dialed those back, even though I had no idea I really had the gifts. I just kind of knew about them, kind of played with them, but I didn't really know what I was doing with them. So my life really was about trying to fit in like everybody else falls into. And that energy is still there though. And when you have that energy there, you're not utilizing it, these latent energies, these suppressed energies, that's where the shadow box opens up, and we find that energy being distributed usually into uh, patterns that don't serve us and others best, and including addictions. So we definitely suffer from not utilizing these things, because the natural order is for us to love ourselves, embrace ourselves, and be ourselves fully and totally, or things don't work so well. So from there, I mean, uh, I could tell you that just that I had a whole journey with sales, getting into in the 2000s when I got online of you like not want to use that persuasion again. Okay, I've got to sell. I've got to have people hire me as a coach or as a healer, and I struggled tremendously. So finally, I had enough, and I started being more assertive. I started utilizing some of that energy, and then the sales picked right up. Right, so then sales started really happening, and I built. Again, without getting over detail about me, I built a multi six-figure business. I had a multi six-figure business for years, and then I was asked to stop doing it. And then my sales went down afterwards because all I was told is not to do what I was doing. I didn't know what was next. So until recently, and ever since I landed with what's been trying to happen all these years, my sales were down, and now my sales are skyrocketing. So this is all like context to say why I'm even doing this podcast on this particular day in this moment, because I've learned lessons along the way that I want to share with you. And I'm seeing these sorts of things happening for others that I didn't really describe all what's happening yet, but I'm going to get more into the details right now. So let's say you can resonate with my story a little bit. You've maybe had some success, but you gotten stuck, whether it's in a career or in your current business. Or you're trying, I see people that have been very successful in businesses or careers, and now they want to do something new, and they're getting it going maybe, but it's just not taking off. And what's that all about? Or again, you were successful, you had a six-figure or multi-six-figure business, maybe even more, much more. But eventually it's just like it just didn't seem right anymore. You're either working too hard or it just didn't totally resonate anymore, or you have life challenges come up and your sales went bom, 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 bom. I mean, I know people that have gone from six figures and multi six figures down to almost zero in their businesses. I've seen that happen for people. And it's as though, and then when they're in it, they, even more dramatic than my own, situation. When it happens, it's like it's very puzzling to them. They don't always know exactly why. They kind of know why, but they don't know why the sales have gone like down to almost nothing. So, or again, just stalling out. Like everything was growing, and then it just stalls out, and it almost seems like it's starting to dip. Even see those patterns. So, what creates that? I'll tell you, it comes back to what I was talking about with my own story. The number one thing that creates it is that you're being asked to love and express and share yourself fully, and you just haven't really been doing that. You haven't been doing that. And if you felt like you were doing it to a degree with whatever you did before, you still were a shade off. It still wasn't the full flavor of you. It wasn't the whole thing. And, the soul wants to come home all the way. And it comes in part often for people through a portal of purpose and of really sharing all of yourself. And that can be part of someone's pathway. And so if you're listening to the show, that's likely your situation. And I could have swore I had someone tell me at one point, before I landed upon Awaken Sales. It's called Awaken Sales, and it's a whole way I work with you, and I dial in sales and these processes and steps that you take. But a big part of it is just you being you, and then utilizing my ability to tune in your energy and be the energetic key to your sales. Really, you're the energetic key, but I turn on that energy inside of you so that you're actually being yourself, and now sales can happen easily. And especially with the focus system I give for sales, that is very clear, very simple sales process, yet a lot of people aren't utilizing in a very clear way like I do. So, and then utilizing, of course, there's the energy of being like, bring it on. I'm ready. A lot of times what happens with sales, number one thing I want to say, are you actually doing your real purpose, your deepest purpose? I thought that I kind of was. I knew it wasn't 1000% it. I will say now what I was doing is, and if you follow me, you know what it was. But I was doing the Academy for Invincible Healers for a number of years. And I mean, helping healers to claim their gifts and thrive doing it. And I had this idea like, what if every healer could be a six-figure healer? And it was a big focus. And I was really good at helping people claim their power and their gifts and wake up more and get some more sales. In some cases, a lot more sales and a lot of success. But I found, like, with the people I was working with and in that container that I worked with them in, I was primarily teaching them energy scanning, and that was a big thing to do in itself. And then I was trying to, cram that in with trying to get them more sales at the same time. And the focus wasn't squarely enough on just working with them and their energy as far as it goes with sales. So that's what I discovered is, like, that my deepest soul calling really is around sales, because I remember my mom and dad were both in business, and I always remember thinking like, gosh, you guys could be doing so much better. I mean, put on your marketing and sales caps. Let's go. Let's build these businesses. I always felt that way. I always felt that way with their businesses. I mean, at some level. And even when they had success, I still was like, yeah, but okay, now what's next? Yeah, like I that just kind of was my take on it. Like there's more potential. So mine is one of um, as it relates to others, is seeing people's potential and saying, come on, there's more potential. And I can see where it is. I know what it is, and then claiming that value, and then letting that value come out and play in the business. So are you really, are there parts of yourself you repressed, like myself, that you have these shadows or repressed energy where you keep holding it back? One of the things that started pointing into it a while back, but I just wasn't ready, I guess, yet to embrace this whole idea of being completely focused on the sales, and in the way that I do, would work with people in the system, is that it's kind of hard to explain in a way, but the thing is I was getting the signs. Like I remember some business people talking about us being great speakers, or trying to help people find out what they should talk about, what would be their thing. They said, that, what's the thing that pisses you off the most? What angers you the most? And this was, to be the thing we should talk about then, right? And for me, I kind of objected to the question at the time a little bit. I was like, well, I kind of get that, but isn't that pain body stuff? And I was very caught up in those ideas at the time. And for me, it really was around sales. I remember thinking, yeah, what gets me mad is seeing people not making sales when they could be. That it's not reasonable. It's not what ought to be. And and of course, for the people I help, use light leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs. I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, you guys want to make a world changing difference. You spiritual rock stars out there, you are wanting to make this big difference. And so, of course, you need to sell. You need to sell. I would say Mother Teresa, it was huge with sales. She didn't take it for herself. She took it for her causes and missions, but she still was doing huge sales. Okay, billionaires, come on, lay the money on. And if they only gave you like a million or whatever amounts they were giving, she'd be like, whatever it's kind of, I don't know what she said, but it's kind of like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's from what I read, are you kidding me? Come on, we need more of it for these sick people, these hungry people. Uh, so she had no concern about other than to serve people through those sales. Is it wrong to want to, sell to make more money for yourself? Absolutely not, because usually it's not really only just yourself. It's usually you have a family. It's usually you have charities and things you want to give to. You want to build your business so you can help more people. You want some for yourself so you can have some nice things for yourself, go on some vacations, take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. The more you take care of yourself, the more innovative you can be and help more people in your business as well. Are there ways we can spoil our money, energy away, etc.? Oh, of course, in a way. But yet, I mean, we overjudge ourselves, though, when it comes to such things, some of us, and we have to get past that and forget about that, and just, tune in to what's really true for us around anything, in our businesses, in our sales process, in our values and what we're choosing, and being conscious about it. Even if you wonder sometimes if that's the right choice, then that's always something that's a sign often that maybe perhaps it isn't the right choice. And you need to reconsider it, or at least be with that. But anyway, getting back to just the sales is, are you being yourself, or have you repressed some of your energy to fit in and to people please, etc. To stay in a box for maybe your family, um, or for others. Are you doing that? So the one thing is you're not being fully yourself, and you don't necessarily even know what it is. And if you do, it's like you keep kind of going back and forth between the idea that maybe that's true, but wait a minute, maybe this is true, or maybe that's true, or maybe this other thing is true. That's what I went through. So I can tell you that yeah, you might figure it out eventually, but it's a good idea to take the shortcut and get help to figure out what it is, and as soon as possible. Because if I generally thought somebody could have helped me a long time ago to really nail it and dial it all in, I would have hired that person right away. And I did hire a person or two along the way, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out, and it doesn't matter. It didn't work out in terms of fleshing this whole thing out that has come to me now in that instance. Um, so yeah. So anyway, so I'm someone that can dial those things in for you. But if you're not working with somebody like me, then what you want to do is, at a minimum, is to take the time to do things that you might want to resist. I know some of the people that come to me that are stuck uh, are totally ready for anything, and some are not, and some are wonder like, oh, I've already done that. And I'm like, that, yeah, well, you need to do it again. And one of those things is, again, is um, really taking a look at, you know, who you really are wanting to serve and dialing that in, like really tuning into that and really getting clear about how you want to help them. What's the thing that you're here to help with, who you here to help, and knowing in detail who these people are. And again, it may not end up being the thing when you're, again, in meditation. I'm talking about, it could be just an inquiry process too, but like, just automatic writing kind of thing, ask questions and then get answers and things like that. So when people work with me, we do that. We have people tune in at a deeper level, ask a lot of questions. Information gold, even if it's not all going to be it, it's like, it's a good starting point. I remember my first mentor for business said, tuning in with your intuition is a great starting place. And it just is. It is typically the best starting space, right? And it is the where you refine it too. Like, you keep tuning in. So when you first get like the thing that comes out, like you're mining for diamonds, you get the raw diamond out. It doesn't mean it's the format that wants to be presented to the world. Someone else that crafts that diamond or whatever and designs it a certain way is going to get more traction than just a raw diamond and piece of diamond, right? You're going to get more traction. So it's somewhat similar analogy to when you're tuning into your avatar, your tribe, your ideal client, like really dialing that in. What is it? And maybe even before you do all that, in this case, if you're doing this on your own, is just really tuning into yourself. Ask yourself honestly, like, what am I holding back on? Because if you're not seeing more sales, there's something you're holding back on. What am I holding back on? Where am I holding back? What are the things that I could be doing to help people in the world that are really, really got a huge burning desire or anger or something like this should not be, this is what wants to happen. They can be clues. Where are you holding things back? What's in the shadow box? How are you repressing yourself? Energetically, how are you holding yourself back? Because those parts want to come out. When they come out to play, it turns on your magic. It turns on the energy where sales are going to start to flip right away. Even if you structurally don't change your business that much, your sales could change like quickly, just by getting more in the energy of all of who you are, all of who you really are at every level. So if you're repressing like I was repressing my sales energy, go figure why, but it's a whole nother story. But I was repressing some of my sales energy 100% for sure. And once I stopped repressing it and I allowed it to flow naturally and yet with structure, the structures I've actually discovered long ago, but I put to the side because I started judging my process, wondering if it was for the highest. I tried other people's ways because they, uh, I felt, they felt, it was a combination. Oh, well, maybe we should refine how you do sales and, you know, do it differently. And the truth was, I needed to double and triple down on what I was already doing. And there were some adjustments, but um, mostly I needed to double and triple down. And then I needed to land energetically in a more embodied, awakened way with how to being me, being a body, being me. So that's what it was for me as a spiritual entrepreneur. There was some rough edges, some old pain body that needed to be dealt with around sales, around uh, for me like an inner pusher that wanted to kind of push things where a little bit more than it really needed to in some cases. Believe it or not, in the past, that's kind of where the energy was at times. So I needed, that needed to be let go of a little bit more, and more of just being a stand for people needed to come in more. And so those things, came together. So this is the number one thing. This is kind of the number one, and the first thing and the last thing is you're not being yourself. You're not being fully expressed. You're not. Therefore, your business isn't going to reflect who you are fully, and or as clearly and as much as it could be a great, perfect representation of who you truly are and who you really are today. So your business needs to reflect that through the branding, through the marketing, through your sales, in every way, and through how you do your work. That's huge too. Like, what are your offerings? How do you help people? Are you helping people in a way that works for you? Some might say you should have a membership program. That's what everybody should do. And then you try to start a membership program, you got like 30 people in it or 20 people paying you $50 a month. Okay, I'm making 1,000 a month, but you don't have much of anything else going, and you make very little, very very little, and you're working all these hours, etc. So someone thought this is a good idea, and you're gonna use their template and fill it with hundreds of people easily and all this stuff or more. But then it stalls out. Somehow it's not working. That means there's something that it's at this time it's not the right model probably for you, number one. Number two, which could be equally as true or probably more true, is you're not really doing the work you're meant to do in that program um, the most. So for example, for me, I'm about spiritual awakening. So I was offering things around helping people spiritually awake and make more money and work on their business. But again, I was putting spiritual awakening first, when for me, I needed to put sales more in the forefront. And sales is an awakener. It's awakener for people that are selling, and it's awakener for people that are in a sales process of making decisions, transformational decisions. In my case, with the work that I do, we're having people be in transformational conversations typically, whether you're selling one to many or one to one. And, you know, it's a huge awakener, but the way I was oriented was like, oh, about spiritual awakening as much as anything else. And that was not totally true. I mean, it was the wrong front door, so to speak. So it doesn't mean that what you're doing is not part of what you do at some level or in some way. And I've seen this again for others. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but it's true for others. It's the same. There's a parallel here, and it's like, what is the thing? And and owning that. Some people, sometimes we have heard it from, if we've had other coaches, some of them have kind of alluded to it or touched on it some, and we weren't ready for it yet, right? We're like, oh yeah, I guess that one coach did mention that thing, and but you didn't weren't ready for it. You weren't ready to say yes to it, or you couldn't hear it at the time, or maybe no one's really has gotten you yet. Maybe you're one of those people that this seems like nobody really sees you fully and completely as who you are and is able to help you in your business. And sometimes that's the help that we need. I know that I appreciate people that are able to do more of that for me. And that definitely has been part of my turnaround with sales, as well. I've had a turnaround in sales. That's always been part of it. Like I had someone that was a champion, someone that saw me, and then I would grow, and I grow in my sales. So that's definitely a key. Um, there's so many things that can repress your sales. Let's talk about the other things now. Now that I hit the meatiest, the biggest thing, we'll spend the rest of the time talking about some of the other things that go along. But I'm telling you, if you solve these first issues, you're in the right energy, being yourself. You got the right tribe, the right offers, the right marketing system, the right sales approach for you. I mean, it's a lot of areas, right? But if you get all those things dialed in, and it can be done like for some of you, you can do it in a few weeks, believe it or not. I mean, it may take longer. It depends on how where you're at and how in depth the business you have and how committed you are, right? So, but it can be done as soon as even a few weeks, where it could be going to no sales or very little to wow, it's turned back on, or we're going to the next level now, or I've got a whole new stream of clients coming in now. It can be done. It can be done. It's uh, definitely for you. This sort of support is definitely for you if you find like, oh, I've tried the Facebook ads, I've tried the webinars, I've tried the JV, I'm trying podcasts, I'm trying all these things. I'm still very little's happening. Yeah, it's this deeper thing I'm talking about then. And you need to see someone see yourself, or you awaken within yourself somehow by working on yourself. And because what holds you back? It's false beliefs and ideas. So I had to clear false beliefs and ideas so that I could be who I really am. Well, if I forget all what they are, when I went through them, but it was like, okay, I'm judging myself um, because of the power and abilities that I have. Basically, is what it came down to, in certain areas, especially with sales. So is it okay? Is the idea? I don't even remember what they are anymore. So it's like in the moment, but like, oh, okay, being persuasive. Too persuasive to be, trying to be too persuasive is definitely always a bad thing, or whatever. Like, okay, that's false. I had to bust those blocks. So you have to identify the right one. Sometimes we're doing all this belief work, but we're not getting to the ones we need the most. Usually when I tune into people, I can just be with somebody and then, well, certainly within a first little bit of a session, within a short period of time, I can know like kind of what the master block is that someone has inside themselves, the thing that it just kind of is driving them, that isn't the awakened presence, something else that's around. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with the world. There's a sense of um, I'm lacking. There's something I'm lacking. Okay, what did I not do? What did I not do? Am I lacking? It can have different flavors. It's all separation energy. There are all these blocks, dialing into that master block, and then into the specific concepts that are locking you in and not letting more of your energy be expressed and shared, and your gifts to be expressed and shared. What are those? And some of those just get busted in the process of you saying yes to yourself, but sometimes we need to take a closer look as well and dial in what are those, and just they can be cleared quickly sometimes, very quickly. It's not always about, I think a lot of times we're just not dealing with the main ones. So then we're like, okay, I dealt with those. Now I got more and more to go through. And Sometimes it's a little less that than like getting the master ones, the deeper ones, the truest ones that really need to be addressed, that would actually maybe take care of like 100 or 1,000 other ones. Like, I'm just saying theoretically, it could take care of so many other ones. Like that one, once we deal with that one, wow, the rest like just don't have resonance for me anymore as being true, like as my false beliefs anymore. So we want to identify the false beliefs. Are you being yourself? Have you dealt with the false beliefs? Are you setting your intentions to, these are basic ones too, like, are you setting your intentions or your sights high enough, so to speak, right? So if you're like, well, I just want to kind of get by like a nice 10K per month business or 5K per month, or whatever. It could even be if I could just have a nice mid-figure, six-figure business or whatever. But I mean, whatever the numbers are, I'm not making them wrong. I'm just saying, like, well, if I could just have, like, okay, what's that about? What's that about? You know, the heart of service and the soul of your service wants to serve as much and fully as possible. And that's just always true. It wants to serve as much as possible. And through that, there's huge impact you can bring. There's huge impact and there's huge amounts of financial good that can circulate through that. People wanting to invest to take care of things they want to take care of. It's them being empowered, creating an energy buzz and resonance that works for them because they want to invest. And by you receiving, by you allowing those sales to pick up and go to higher and higher levels in a way that works for your energy, works for your purpose, works for your um, ultimately for your life, your so-called lifestyle, right? I think lifestyle businesses are okay. um, but I think what's even better is when you're just living fully expressed, full your full purpose. You allow everything to find its perfect place and balance within you being true to yourself in every way. A lot of times, our lifestyle businesses are often a little more conceptual than, I'm, not, I'm saying there's no truth to the lifestyle you believe that you want. But a lot of times they have lies in them. Well, I'd like to work 20 hours a week and lay down by the beach. Yeah, well, if you're doing things that really aren't your main things to do, maybe you don't feel like working that much, right? But maybe it's possible, at least, that if you were doing things that you would much rather, you would be really on fire with, that you'd want to work a whole lot more. And it's not really about that lifestyle, right? So we need to know the deeper truth. What's the deeper truth? What is the deeper truth? That's what it's all about. So are you setting your sights are you with the right thing? See, it's always about being with the right thing. It's really always back to the one thing. But then if you are tapped into that, then are you setting your sights to serving as many as possible? Are you allowing that to flow and allowing the natural ways it could happen to come to you in its perfect timing and order? In other words, a lot of times we try to conceptually figure this out. Well, let's see, I want to help 10 million people. Okay, I guess I'll do it like this. I'll sell 10 million books and then blah, blah. Or logicking it out. You're kind of tuning in or whatever. It's like, okay, no, but like, what's the thing though? What's the thing you want to share with the world? And let's let the specifics fill themselves in. Sometimes the 20-year plan comes in a little bit, or the 5-year plan. But I find increasingly people don't really have those plans. They don't need them. I think it's more true than ever. And so, just what's next now? You know, our lives are much more like, I mean, even big companies, like, you've got to be ready to flip on a dime. Even the biggest organizations, like, they can have all the plans in the world, but what I'm seeing a lot of for a lot of companies and for people is, you got to be ready for anything. Who knew about COVID, right? I can tell you one thing that probably isn't, for people that I would be talking to, is probably as not having um, the effect that you might think it's having on your business, and that's COVID. So now, is it true some businesses have been closed down or decimated, and all of it because of, oh, of course, that's undeniable. That's 100%. Have people innovated and found ways to prosper anyways in some cases? Sure, sure. If it was true for them to do that, right? So it's always good to know what's true for you, what's true for that particular business, what's really wanting to happen, where's the soul force behind it ultimately. Um, is there, as a spiritual entrepreneur, is the soul force behind it? Other people can do other things and get away with it, maybe if that aligns for them somehow. But as spiritual entrepreneurs, it's got to align with our deeper soul purpose or it won't work. So, are we aligned with the main thing? And are you claiming the value? Are you claiming the value of what you do enough? Are your packages and your offerings um, leveraging the value that most people say their work is priceless in the transformational field. So is what you charge reflecting that, or you continue to charge very little? It takes a lot. We're in a different kind of business. We're not selling bagels. I mean, bagels. I mean, it's not a big decision. Like, I guess I'll have a bagel, right? Hey, you want to transform your entire life? That's way more energy than saying yes to a bagel, for a customer. So um, it's huge. So it requires a real investment. It requires a real deep investment. And the space that we're holding for that happening is huge. So we're meant to prosper and to receive um, what feels true in value for that, and usually a lot more than what we've been really willing to receive in many cases. Again, every case could be different. So that's another one. Are you using enough? Again, if you're getting stuck in your business, are you just working with the same 20 or 30 people in your one-to-one business and you're charging little? And I've seen that pattern, and you stall out, you burn out. Like, you need groups and to charge more for your one-to-one, or maybe one or the other. Maybe, who knows? It's all varieties for different people. But someone needs to innovate. Someone needs to change. You can't just keep doing it. I mean, the same old way forever. Um, so maybe if something comes up, like a loved one dies, or someone leaves your life, or you have a health issue, your sales plummet, and maybe you recover a little bit or for a while, but it's like you just can't seem to get back to where you were. Now, this is true for a lot of people. What do I recommend? I recommend, in some cases, when you're going through these dark nights of the soul, is not to try to, man, I'm going to get my business going, So I'm not going to allow myself the time to grieve, or to deal with my emotions, or to take time to be still. These natural cycles, to be in the natural cycle of letting go of it all, and allowing the sales to drop for a while, because you probably, if you try, it's not going to work anyway. If you keep trying to get at it, and your energy isn't there for it right now, it's probably not going to work anyway. So sometimes we go through some major things in life. The best thing you can do is just take the time to deal with the energies that have come up, on your own and with some help. And then eventually you'll be ready. You'll be ready. You'll be ready. And when you come back, you'll be stronger than ever, and things will go to the next level like never before. It doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't have to take that long, but honor these cycles. Honor the cycles. That's really important. Um, some of the other things that can hurt your sales, if you got an organization, again, it's just the basics, like the people that you're employing, like who are you employing? Like, you're employing people that represent some kind of aspect within yourself. It's pretty deep stuff, but it's true. But so you need to change you first. And when you change you, and you're loving you, and you're being you yourself more, you'll hire new people. You'll be like, oh, makes sense. Or that person also will quit or whatever. Like, it's just how it works. Like, all of a sudden your team changes. If your sales team isn't performing, there's something inside you that's not lined up. So either your sales team will switch over, or your team members will change, whatever part, customer service, sales, whatever, all the different aspects, different things will get changed because you've changed. So there's so many things we could say about that. And then yeah, and I mean, there's so many things. Are you making enough offers in your business? If you stop doing offers, you just get a little burnout and making offers, and now you're just because you're not being yourself, right? So it always comes back to that. Are you pushing, your business when you need to allow more inspiration, more pull in your business? Some of these things are kind of universal, but everybody's a little bit different. And those little differences can make all the difference. So these are things to look at. I give you some how-tos in there too, but trust that I know my mind when I've installed in sales, it goes in all kinds of drama like it does in any other area of life. It says, "Oh my God, I'm stuck. I might be stuck forever." After all, I mean, we have this. I don't know. I had this weird idea. I don't know if you've had this weird idea. Like successful business people, like they grow their business and it just keeps growing. I mean, they might have like a year or two at the most where they don't see growth, but like basically you keep growing forever. And like it's like some weird idea in your head like that, and it's just not true. I mean, people can be very successful and see a huge downturn for a very long time in a business, or if you're in multiple businesses and certain businesses and other businesses take off. We all know stories like that. I don't need to mention who those people would be, but there's so many stories of that. So it's just our mind's concepts. It has so many concepts. So not true. You're going to get your sales mojo going again if you stay with it. If you give in, like many people give in, and they just, even though basically you're close to being on the right track with what wants to happen with your life purpose. Some people give in. They just go find a job. They just go do something else, and it's not really their purpose, and they just settle for that because they just don't know what to do anymore. But what I'm telling you is that don't give in. Don't give in. No matter how bad it gets, just don't give in. Do not give in. Do not give in. Never. They say never give up, right? They show that stork trying to eat a frog, and the frog's like hanging on to the stork's beak or whatever, the throat or whatever. I don't know. Not giving up. No, not even now. Never give up. Never give up. Maybe you need to completely surrender sometimes, spiritually speaking, but to give up means to go in another direction and abandon the path. Never give up. Even if you do that, still never give up. Just know you're still going to do rock your sacred purpose, rock your purpose. Okay. All right. So that's all for today. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com if you want to learn more about me. You get a free Meditate and Make Money meditation there to help open up your energies and your chakras, to get your signal stronger and get some messages around maybe what some of the things that want to happen through you. I know that it's worked well for a number of people that are utilizing that and making more money. So that can be a unsticking thing potentially for you, for sure. It's a great thing to do to meditate either way for 100%, but the people that are using it consistently are seeing results. And there's also an opportunity there to meet with me for an energy scan consultation where I can tune in the energies, see where the energies are suppressed, and see what's really wanting to happen through you right now in your business and even for your life as well, of course. So you can rock your sacred purpose, all right, and see a breakthrough in a big way for your sales as well, whatever support you need right now. Okay, great. So go to yoursacredpurpose.com. And I'm just so grateful to have shared with you today. And as I always say at the end of each show, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time, everyone. Goodbye for now.
You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.